Welcome to my adventures through Mental Roulette, the roulette that can give you either a guild test or an extreme. From now onwards, we use a wheel to randomize what job we play to every Mental Roulette. The exclusive rule being that any jobs that land on a guild test won't be used until it's any other duty than a guild test. Feel free to give me tips on each job I get so I can learn and improve my gameplay. This time around, we got a lot of dungeons, but a few exciting trials. So let us get into today's session. I start the first duty of the day by playing Monk, and the first duty is a replacement on Dreadbore Walk. Got me a little bit nervous as I'm not experienced enough on Monk at a high level, so it was a practice run for me. I'm a replacement here. Why though? I mean, I suppose most people don't really like this dungeon too much. I personally don't really mind it if you ask me, but oh my god, I'm messing up my entire rotation. I cannot believe I actually had... Hello? Oh. Well. Sup, Sebby? If you're watching this, thank you for the follow. And thank you for the sub. You're insane. Thank you. That is very sweet of you. Oh, to think that was gonna happen now. Getting back to Monk after so long, it's a trip. I'm not used to Monk anymore. I'm messing up literally everything, but maybe I'll get the gist of it again. No! God damn it. Well, it'd be like that, I suppose. No, god damn it. Well, crap. Not good. Not good, besties. Not good. Yeah, well, this is usually the reason why most people leave. There's really no other reason. Oh my god, no! Oh man. Oh, this is a mess. Oh, just end me already. Oh man, this is just glorious. Especially on a class that I'm just not used to anymore. I'm not used to doing this fight as a melee either. You know? Just brutal. So there you go. At least we're done now. While doing the first pull of enemies, I actually end up getting a Twitch follow and a subscription that completely throws me off. The first boss is consistently a mess, but this has been the messiest fight for me that I ever had. The rest of the dungeon went perfectly fine, excluding the times I messed up my rotation and made some trash pulls incredibly awkward for me, but you know, other than that, everything went really well. Duty number 2. The wheel chooses Paladin, and once the decision is made, we get sent to Alamigo as another replacement. I couldn't really think of a reason why someone would leave this dungeon as they didn't get very far from the start. By the way, you'll see some weird inconsistencies per roulette. Some will have my PNG, others will have a makeshift chat blocker because I kept forgetting whenever I changed the overlays, and also because I was just done streaming, which is why the PNG appears randomly, because I had the program open. The group was solid from beginning to end, so it was very smooth run. But I want to show you peeps the infamous massive pull just before the second boss. Duty number 3, we get sent to Temptar Deepcroft as a white mage with 3 classes, which I find super cute, I'm not gonna lie. I always love seeing newer gamers play through the game, so this was a very enjoyable dungeon for me. We have a very new tank. So throughout the dungeon, I encourage the tank to pull more enemies and reassure them that I will keep them alive so they don't become afraid of enemy pulls, as that is one of the habits you want to learn as a tank as soon as possible. This is such a cute little tank, I love him. He's doing a fantastic job so far at tanking, honestly. For someone that is very new, it clearly shows that they're pretty much... This is their first time playing FF14, and this is like their second dungeon ever. But honestly, they're doing so well. Like, I don't really have much to really say. They've been like I've told them that they can pull more enemies and I'll be sure to keep them alive. That's how usually a dungeon goes, right? And they've been replying, they've been very nice, and they've been just a fantastic tank so far. Pulling can be so scary as a beginner tank. It really can. And I think that goes for any MMO RPG. So having someone to tell them to like pull more enemies as early as possible will make them grow out of that fear as soon as possible as well, and make them perfect the very core basics of being a tank. So you know, this is fantastic. I love this. Because trust me, there's even tanks to this day at max level that usually pull very small pulls. Which is fine, you know, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But most of the times, healers have so much tools in their kit. The same thing goes for tanks, that most pulls can be handled with ease, really. But sometimes people are just starting the, they don't tank too much, or they're very rusty at tanking, or they're tanking for the first time on a very high level job, like for example Gunbreaker. Gunbreaker starts at level 70, no 60, I think. But usually when I see a level 100 or even level 90 tank pulling very little, I usually try to tell them that they can pull more. They can pull more, especially if I'm the one healing. I won't say anything if I'm not the one healing. But if I'm the one healing, then yes, I'll usually be like, oh yeah, you know, you can pull more enemies. I'll be watching over you. Don't worry about it. I'll look after you. Otherwise, I'll stay quiet because I do not know if the healer is confident in their healing skills to keep someone alive. You know what I mean? I know that he's looking at me to see if he's going the right way or not. And he's doing good. He's doing good. Overall, it was a great run. Liking the video so far? Support me by dropping a like, leaving a comment, and subscribing. That will help me immensely and push out my videos for more people. So thank you in advance. But let's get back into the video, shall we? Duty number 4, we get sent to the lost city of Andapur as Astrologian. The whole duty becomes quite stressful as a healer. A lot of damage hitting the tank and most of the other party members getting hit by other attacks, especially poison dots. It didn't help that I didn't play my best when it comes to Astrologian. It was a pretty taxing dungeon as a healer, but it put me on my toes with every mob pull. The warrior uses home gang on the very first pull, but me not realizing that happens as everything goes sideways for the whole party. I never allow the warrior to drop to 1 HP, inherently wasting the invuln. But the reason I didn't realize the home gang activated is because I saw Rampart activate, which put me on healing duty to keep the tank alive. So as a tip for healers and tanks, as a tank, if you know the upcoming pull is a very dangerous one, don't use any defensives and just use your invuln, saving your defensives for when the invuln runs out. Using them together makes the invuln less effective, especially on warrior. And healers, if you know that the upcoming pull is a dangerous one, pay attention to your tank and see how they approach the pull. If they kitchen sink, aka use every defensive in their toolkit, take that time to deal as much damage as possible before healing the tank. If the tank uses 1 or 2 defensives, be sure to weave heals between attacks. If your tank uses no defensives, it's either because they're about to use their invulnerability, or worst case scenario, use nothing and that will be a nightmare for you to keep up. It was a rough but enjoyable dungeon. Duty number 5, we get Machinist as our next job and immediately get sent into a guild test. And that guild test, of course, being under the armor, which gets done incredibly fast, so we just jump into the next duty. Remember, because I got a guild test on Machinist, it means that we'll keep Machinist for the next duty that isn't a guild test. Duty number 6, we go to the Great Gobble Library, one of my favorite dungeons on Heavensward, together with a vault. Other than me finding our tank pretty cute, it was a rather normal dungeon run. Right, I need to see this cowboy. Oh my god, he is cute. Yeah, and you know what? His glam kind of slaps. He's like a cowboy on vacation, but you know, was called out mid-vacation, so they didn't have time to switch from their vacation outfit. I love that. I love it. It's great. There's a lot of ninjas that use single target Doton, I realized. Or more like, I kind of knew from watching other videos from other content creators that there's a lot of ninjas that use single target dot Doton. But I did not know how many, like ever since like I've been kind of paying more attention to ninjas recently. And for everybody to know, Doton is not a dot, like a dot that you need to maintain like most dots. It's mainly used for AoE pulls, as the amount of damage it does in full duration does not beat a Raiton, I think it's called. You know, the lightning ninjutsu. The single target one. So whenever you're fighting a boss, you're better off using a Raiton over Doton, just because Doton does not deal as much damage as a Raiton. So while playing ninja, be sure to not use Doton on single target. Duty number 7, we go back into Temptar Deepcroft as a warrior. I do mainly big pulls, but I don't go super crazy on it, as I just had a gut feeling that maybe the Scholar would struggle keeping me alive. Especially at this levels, I don't have that many defensives. It is a very smooth and a pretty fast dungeon run in general, so nothing really to add. Duty number 8, we go to Stone Vigil as a gunbreaker as the wheel demands it. Stone Vigil is such a weird dungeon when it comes to its level, as you have most of your kit but not your most important skills, like invulns for tanks and AoE damage for healers, making the trash pulls be incredibly awkward. I still try to do big pulls together with the White Mage. Sadly, at this level range, White Mage is probably the healer that struggles the most at keeping tanks alive, because most of their healing is through hardcast heals, making most big pulls be incredibly dangerous. So with that said, you can expect that a tank without an invuln and a healer that struggles with hardcast heals made some of the pulls incredibly difficult, so I tried to be more careful and go with smaller pulls instead after wiping. Another thing that made the big pulls very difficult is that the healer would jump between doing Cure 3s, Cure 2s, and Cure 1s, especially Cure 1s, as that was the spell that was cast the most throughout the dungeon. As a little tip, you only want to use Cure 1 if you're really low in mana, but otherwise you want to use Cure 2, especially in big mob pulls, because otherwise you'll be healing for very little and spend more mana than using Cure 2, so keep that in mind while learning how to heal. Duty number 9 is done live on Twitch, and the wheel has chosen us to play Red Mage. We get enemy parties as Red Mage, and once again, because it's a guild test, we remain on Red Mage. Duty number 10 is enemy parties again. Once again, I have nothing else to add other than telling you that you should maybe follow me on Twitch if you want to catch me live, so be sure to check that out. Duty number 11 is finally not a guild test, but our very first extreme in Mental Roulette, and that being Ultima Weapon. Oh no! Oh no! I have never beaten Ultima Weapon synced before, but I know how the fight works, as I've seen other videos of people beating Ultima Weapon synced, so it wasn't that bad, all things considered. Oh dear. My first EX boss! I guess we're just going. Yeah, well, we wing it. Our first attempt was going really smoothly. Our team was composed of 4 mentors and 4 sprouts, so pretty balanced and making the fight a lot easier to handle, as I'm sure they knew most of the mechanics. At least I like to believe, as the fight went really well. The only problematic mechanic of this whole fight is that Ultima will spawn these orbs that need to be soaked with at least 2 people. Otherwise, it will one-shot you. And if you do not soak them in time and have them collide with each other, it will cause a one-shot raid-wide. We end up wiping on the first attempt to the aforementioned mechanic where 2 orbs collide, causing a instant kill raid-wide. I let the party know that the orbs need to be soaked as 2 people, and then we continue, as the party doesn't seem to be talking much, as the second attempt starts with one of the tanks instantly pulling the boss. But I don't have much to complain about, as in our second attempt, we end up beating Ultima. Duty number 12, we get Samurai, and we once again go to enemy parties. Nothing to say, just kill things and be done with it. Duty number 13, we get sent to Ifrit hard as Samurai, one of my favorite and most nostalgic bosses in the whole game. I end up recognizing our Astrologian as someone that I found a lot while doing my Bojo duels, which by the way, you should absolutely check that video out. It's a pretty great watch. Most of the fight was going well until the first nails arrived, where it looks like I was the only person attacking the nails. For those that don't know, if the nails don't get destroyed in time, Ifrit will wipe the entire party. I let everyone know that we must focus on the nails once they spawn and manage to progress through the whole fight smoothly after the nails. Duty number 14, we get sent to Ifrit Extreme as Ninja, which is incredibly funny as we just beat Ifrit hard. I have beaten this fight synced before, but this fight especially can be such a messy fight if people do not know how to hold their damage or position themselves properly. For example, one of the healers will get targeted by a debuff called the Searing Wind, which will last for a whopping 20 seconds. While this debuff is active, the healer will pulsate fire explosions which will also knock back people around them. So usually you want one of the healers to be in the edge of the arena while the other healer gets close to everybody else to help with the healing. Thankfully, we had a healer that knew what to do when they got targeted with Searing Wind. The other mechanic that catches people off guard is the chains. If you are chained to another player, you have to be close to that player, otherwise you will take tons of continuous damage. Those tend to be the most problematic mechanics. We also have the nails, but they work exactly the same. The only difference is that whenever you kill them, they will do a raid wide and apply a vulnerability out for 3 seconds. So you want to be able to manage your damage and not pop too many nails at once, or you might just wipe the entire party. We managed to clear on our second attempt, just like Ultima. Duty number 15, we get sent to Eden's Promise Umbra against the Cloud of Darkness as a Dragoon. I end up messing my rotation plenty of times throughout the whole fight. For some reason, Dragoon is one of the classes that I'm the most inconsistent on. Sometimes I will nail the whole rotation with no problems, using my cooldowns properly and nail all of my positionals. And other times I'll just use attacks outside of combos and do the wrong combos in general. But other than me struggling with my Dragoon rotation, most of the fight went really well. I surprisingly remained on top damage, even with all my mistakes, if the aggro list is anything to go by. I do end up doing a classic Dragoon move where I backflip into my death, but other than that, it was a pretty smooth fight, even with all the mistakes I made the whole fight. Duty number 16, we go to enemy strongholds as Bard, where we are paired with a badass looking Black Mage Hrothgar with a equally badass looking portrait. Other than that, at this level range, Bard doesn't have a AoE skill. I contemplated if it was worth spending time applying dots to the enemies here, as most enemies die so fast, but I ended up deciding against it. Duty number 17, we get sent to a Dawntrail dungeon as a Bard. My first ever level 90 plus content as a Bard. Thankfully, I did play a decent amount of Bard recently, as it was the last drop I got to level 100, so I was decently warmed up. I managed to keep my dots up most of the time and managed to keep my songs always rolling. It's not like I never dropped either dots or the songs, but I was rather proud of myself with how I managed to keep it up for most of the dungeon. In most mob pools, I try to apply Wind Bite to most enemies so I have some dots rolling while doing my AoE rotation. I do end up learning that Pitch Perfect at this level range becomes an AoE ability, which makes it an actual viable song to play during AoE pulls, as before, Pitch Perfect was only a single target ability, making it not super strong in mob pulls. Though in the final boss, I actually spaced out so hard that I just ate most of the mechanics thrown my way. And for our final duty, duty number 18, we get Viper as our final job for the day and get sent to the Burden of the Father, one of my least favorite Alexander fights in the whole raid series. It's this one and also the Alexander raid where it's just you fighting a bunch of mobs. Viper at this level range is very strong and also incredibly simple when it comes to its rotation. The only thing you gotta remember in this fight as a melee class is that whenever the head of the boss becomes targetable, it actually has positionals for you to land, while the legs don't have any positionals. I personally only realized this a bit later into the fight. And with the manipulator defeated, we end our mental roulette session of the week. In this session, we did 18 whole duties, and the majority of them were actually not guild heads for once, which is great. And we also managed to get our first extremes of the series. We got Ultimate Weapon Extreme, which I never cleared synced until now, and cleared Ifrit Extreme 2, which was surprisingly smooth. Once again, if you want to watch these mental roulettes or challenge runs live, be sure to check out my Twitch. But other than that, thank you so much for watching till the end. If you want to support the channel, check out my Ko-Fi link in the description and check my Twitch. But if that doesn't tickle your fancy, liking, commenting, and subscribing already supports me immensely. But for now, I'll be seeing you once again on my adventures through Mental Roulette soon.